Folks, you know that you can't have a storyteller without an audience. So I would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's been said that all great literature is one of two stories. A man goes on a journey, or a stranger comes to town. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to hear is not great literature. But it does feature one of those two elements. Before I start, I'd like to thank the Oat for hosting us this evening. Great job, great venue by the Oat. Thank you very much. Don't forget to tip your servers and your bartenders. We've got Caitlin and Spencer over there, so they're working hard to help us out. I'd also like to acknowledge that we're all here to support the Oxford Library. All proceeds from tonight's program go straight to the library. The director of the library is here this evening. Most of you know Carrie Breslin, the director. Carrie, will you please stand? Thank you very much. And now for my story, entitled Killing Carrie Breslin. The first thing I thought as I drove into Oxford, Pennsylvania was, man, this small town must get a lot of visitors. I mean, look at that big ass parking garage. I wonder why. Seeing a veterinary office on just about every corner, I thought maybe people travel here with their pets. That didn't make much sense. Maybe there are a lot of rich people here, because every corner that doesn't have a vet's office seems to have a bank. I think that's the third BB&T I've passed since I came to town. But that couldn't be it. It didn't reconcile with the fact that I counted a half dozen dollar stores in just a few blocks. And at least that many pizza joints. It must be a hard-working town. Because I've seen 8 chiropractic offices so far. Strange. I couldn't make the connection. I remember reading that the town hosted a group of famous authors who came to town once a year to thrill the public with their tales of macabre mystery and noir. Could that explain it? Nah. Everyone knows that those literary troubadours just came to town for the free food and cheap whiskey that these weddings provided. So why? Not my problem, I thought. Is enough that I knew why I was here. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start at the beginning. My name is Center. Lucifer Center. Apparently my parents had a wicked sense of humor when it came to naming. I was raised in East Kentucky. I guess that makes me a redneck. Those authors I mentioned before, they call me a mechanic, a hitter, a cleaner, a gun for hire. And truth be told, although the wear and tear was tiring me out, I was damn good at it. If you hired me to kill somebody and paid me what I was worth, then that somebody was already dead. They just didn't know it yet. That's why I was in Oxford. My assignments came through a series of cutouts that assured I had no idea who hired me. Whenever the urge hit me over the years, and that urge hit me quite often, I signed on to a fictitious email account named clevelandcontractor.com. And I opened the draft folder. If I was needed, I'd find a singular file named Dispatch. And upon opening that file, I learned the name, address, and bounty on the already dead but unaware Mark. After memorizing the information, I deleted the contents of the file. If I accepted the job, I typed in one of my totally anonymous bank accounts for the contractor to wire payment upon completion of the mission. If for some reason I chose not to accept, Well, that never happened. Neither the contractor nor I ever hit send, meaning no record was ever created out there in the worldwide Google webs. So the system was completely untraceable. I had no idea who the contractor was, and I didn't really care, as long as those wire deposits kept coming in. 2 days ago, I was parked in front of Four Fingers of some Pappy Van Winkle that was older than I was. I clicked open the dispatch file and I read, Carrie Bressler, Director, Oxford Public Library, Oxford, PA. I knew nothing about this Carrie Bressler, but I mean, she's a librarian. How hard could this be? Because of that, I wasn't prepared with the information I usually required before taking a job. What was her background, her history, her habits, the secret peccadillos that I knew she must have? Everybody does. Even librarians. So I was operating a little blind on this one, but no big deal. I'd make it a quick in and out. Visit the library, do the deed, and be out of town before the next Amish buggy could slow me down. At least that was the plan. I found the library easy enough. It wasn't hard. It was the only place in town that had free parking, so everybody knew where it was. I didn't bother casing the joint, just walked right in and got in line at the circulation desk. I was third in line. I heard the lady up front ask about a book. I can't remember the title, and I don't know who the author is, but the book is red. The library lady directed her to look in the 5,000 book James Patterson section to see if she could find it. Next was the man in front of me. He was mad about something. He had printed out a web page from the library computers. But I want it in color, he griped. I paid extra for a color copy. Well, let's see what it is that you were trying to print, the lady patiently replied. This web page right here, but I want it in color. I paid extra for color. But sir, this web page is a black and white web page. There's no color in it. But I want it in color. Can you print it for me in color? The library lady patiently led him over to a table that contained a bin of colored pencils. Have at it. And have a nice day. And she returned to the circulation counter. I thought to myself, that's some real 2-star customer service right there. And stepped to the front of the line, my right hand in the trigger guard of the Glock S9 pistol in my right jacket pocket. In the business, us professionals pride ourselves on our situational awareness, our ability to know everything that is going on around us without looking or seeming to pay any attention. Kind of like a hitman's spidey sense. So I was stunned when I felt twin gun barrels press against both my left and right side. I hadn't noticed anyone approach me. I glanced to my right. What the hell? It was a smallish teenage girl. She had short, dark hair and a serious, no-nonsense demeanor that told me it was likely she'd just as soon shoot me as breathe. Wasn't even looking at me, just staring straight ahead, but she made sure I felt the gun barrel pressed against my side. Glancing to my left, I did another double take. This hitter was even younger. Longer hair, which she twirled around the fingers of her left hand. She was facing my left side with what looked like a continuous smile, while at the same time chewing on a mouthful of gum. Her expression told me she was the kind that liked pulling the trigger, thought it was fun. I was dumbfounded. How had these two gotten the jump on me? Could they be that good? And then I heard the disembodied voice, very calm, very in control, from behind me. Well, hello, Mr. Center. Or may I call you Lucifer? Welcome to the Oxford Library. Why don't you step away from the desk? Or should I have my granddaughters in this right here? Did I hear that right? Granddaughters? What the hell was going on here? One look at the librarian behind the counter told me she was just as confused as I was. Mom? What are you doing here? How come you're not home in Cleveland? There, Carrie dear. It's all right. I'm just here for a little visit. Mother and Mr. Center have a little business to discuss. Don't you pay us any mind. I turned and got my first look at the mysterious woman who had me in the palm of her hand. She indeed looked like a grandmother. Short, slight, little bent over, with a mop of silver hair. But those eyes. It was those eyes that drew you in and commanded your attention. They were jet black. As black as my ex-wife's heart. As black as the devil's food cake. As black as a murderer's dream. I knew immediately that I was at this lady's mercy. And one look at those eyes told me she had no mercy. As serious as stage 4, they were the eyes of someone you just knew not to mess with. She drew me aside and spoke in a low voice that only I could hear. Relax, my dear Lucifer. If I wanted to hurt you, you'd already be dead. I just want to have a little chat. Let's walk over to the Oat and you can buy me a beer. How did you find me? I asked, but even as I said the words, the answer popped into my head. Wait, you're the contractor. Guilty as charged. You can call me Jenna, by the way. You see, Mr. Center, you have the reputation as being the best in the business. But I had no way to approach you directly. So I put out a contract on my daughter Carrie to draw you out into the open, knowing that I could have my granddaughters intercept you before you could finish the job, and giving me the opportunity to make you a little business proposition. One that could prove mutually beneficial to both of us. You see, I'm getting a little old to be active in the game. I need someone to take over the operation, and I think that someone is you. I'll turn over my side of the business, and you can turn over your side to my granddaughters. You've already seen how good they are, and they could be even better under your tutelage. You'll find the front end of the business to be very lucrative, and I'll only require you to share a 25% finder's fee with me. I've already set up the contract method, hillbillyhits.com. Now, do we have a deal? I really didn't have much choice. The woman was scary as hell. If I ever crossed her, I'd be pushing up daisies. And having extra time on my hands wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. More time with my Pappy Van Winkle. Miss Jenna, I said, I think you've got yourself a deal. Excellent, she said. Aren't you a dear? Now, how about that beer?